Welcome back, viewers, to the latest researches and news. Currently, we have major updates. Firstly, war has started on the Raya Alamata Kobo front. We have been tracking the build-up. Now the fighting is real. 3 drone strikes hit the area near Amhara Tigray Border. Secondly, about inside Abiy Ahmed's War Council, meetings with Ethiopian National Defense Force generals have reportedly concluded, and decisions we will share with you in this video. And in last, about the instructions for the people near Amhara Tigray Afar border areas. Viewers, for the past 7 days, we have been giving you consistent, detailed updates from ground sources about the Raya Alamata Kobo front in North Wollo zone. The reports have been uniform in their message. The situation is extremely tense. Large numbers of troops have been deployed from both sides. Heavy artillery has been installed at multiple positions. Both the Ethiopian National Defense Force and the Tigray Defense Forces have been building up their presence in this corridor in parallel, each side reinforcing as the other reinforces. We explained the geography in detail. The Raya corridor runs along the A2 highway, the main road connecting the Tigray region to North Wollo and the rest of northern Ethiopia. Whoever controls the terrain around Raya controls the movement of forces and supplies along that highway. The Ethiopian National Defense Force has been fortifying positions in the Raya Kobo Woreda on the Amhara side. The Tigray Defense Forces has been reinforcing Raya Alamata Woreda on the Tigray side. 2 forces building toward each other across the same strategic corridor. Now reports from ground sources confirm what the build-up was pointing toward. War has started on this front. We will continue providing detailed updates as information reaches us from the Raya Kobo Alamata area. What we can confirm right now is that the front we have been watching has become active, and that the drone strikes we are about to describe are the first confirmed military actions in this new phase of the Raya confrontation. This morning, 3 drone strikes hit Tigray Defense Forces fighters in the Merewa area of southern Tigray. Let us explain where Merewa is and why this location matters. Merewa is situated near the Tigray-Amhara border in the Tigray region in the southern Tigray zone that sits closest to North Wollo. It is directly adjacent to the same corridor where the Raya Kobo build-up has been happening. Raya Alamata, the Tigray side of the Raya front, is in this same broader geographic zone. The significance of this location for the drone strikes goes beyond geography. Tigray Defense Forces fighters have, in recent days, been moving from southern Tigray into parts of the Amhara region, operating in coordination with Amhara Fano national movement forces along the border area. We reported on this in a previous video, explaining how the Ethiopian National Defense Forces withdrawal from rural positions in North Wollo created gaps through which Tigray Defense Forces elements were able to move into elevated terrain near the Tigray-Amhara boundary. The strikes in Merewa this morning targeted Tigray Defense Forces positions in the area close to where those cross-border operations have been taking place. The timing at the same moment that the Raya front has become active is not coincidental. The Ethiopian National Defense Force is using drone strikes to target Tigray Defense Forces fighters who are operating near the border zone, and potentially to disrupt the coordination between Tigray Defense Forces and Fano that has been developing in that area. 3 strikes, southern Tigray, border zone, early morning. We have no confirmed casualty figures from these strikes at this time. Now to what may be the most important development in today's report. What is reportedly happening inside the Ethiopian government's decision-making rooms. Reports from sources indicate that the Ethiopian federal government and military leadership have been actively discussing how to respond to the Tigray situation as it has escalated. Multiple positions have been debated within these discussions. One camp, reportedly including some officials, has called for dialogue and restraint. They argue that escalation carries risks that outweigh the potential benefits, and that a political rather than military approach is the safer path. A second and apparently more influential position has reportedly won out in the discussions. Avoid a full-scale ground invasion of Tigray, but maintain and intensify the economic and political siege on the region, while conducting targeted surgical airstrikes against specific high-value targets. Reports indicate that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has met with Ethiopian National Defense Force generals, and that the meeting concluded with this as the preferred operational approach: one, maintain the economic blockade of Tigray, tighten the restrictions on fuel, banking, civil servant salaries, and essential supplies, use economic pressure to weaken the Tigray People's Liberation Front's ability to sustain its military and administrative operations. 2. Intensify political pressure. Continue building the narrative that the Tigray People's Liberation Front is isolated, foreign-backed, and rejected by its own people. Use the Tigray Peace Force and Getachew Raiders political network to challenge the Tigray People's Liberation Front's claim to represent Tigray. 3. Conduct targeted surgical airstrikes against specific individuals and installations. The reported targets of these planned strikes are significant. Tigray People's Liberation Front senior leadership, the political figures who have been directing the Tigray People's Liberation Front's resistance, and Tigray Defense Forces generals, the military commanders directing the fighting. This is a very specific strategic choice. The Ethiopian federal government appears to have concluded that a full ground offensive into Tigray carries too many risks. The lessons of 2020 to 2022 have not been forgotten. A ground offensive that does not achieve quick, decisive results becomes a prolonged war that drains resources, produces internationally visible casualties, and risks creating the conditions for a Tigray Defense Forces counter-offensive. By choosing surgical airstrikes against leadership targets, the federal government is attempting to decapitate the Tigray People's Liberation Front's command structure without the commitment of large ground forces. The logic: if you remove the leadership, the political and military organization loses coherence. The resistance weakens without a full ground war being needed. This strategy has significant limitations, which we will return to. But it explains the joint strikes we are seeing this morning in Mirewa and elsewhere. These are not the opening shots of a ground invasion. They are the beginning of the surgical air campaign that has reportedly been chosen as the primary military instrument. As I informed you earlier about the drone strikes has been reported this morning in the Marawa area near Raya Alamata and the Tigray Amhara border. According to available reports, at least 3 drone strikes took place between 6 and 7 in the morning in the Marawa area. The strikes targeted a position reportedly linked to Tigray Defense Forces operating near the border. There is an additional claim in some reports that requires us to be specific about its verification status. Some sources have mentioned Marawa Secondary School as a location near or connected to the strike. We must be direct with you. This claim has not been independently confirmed. We do not know at this stage whether the school was near a struck position, or whether the mention is inaccurate. We will not confirm what we have not confirmed. We are actively working to verify this claim, and will share confirmed information as it becomes available. Drone strikes occurred in the Marawa area this morning. The strikes are consistent with the reported strategy of surgical airstrikes against Tigray Defense Forces positions near the border. Casualty figures have not been confirmed. Neither the Tigray People's Liberation Front nor the Ethiopian federal government has officially confirmed the details. This is the opening of the air campaign that the reported Abiy generals meeting concluded upon. Finally, and this we have covered before, but it bears repeating in the context of today's update. The Ethiopian military has issued formal instructions to banks and financial institutions operating near the Tigray Amhara and Tigray Afar border zones. Banks in North Wulo and Waghemra, the zones directly adjacent to the Raya Alamata front, have been advised to relocate their branches to safer areas away from the border. Where immediate relocation is not possible, they have been told to reduce cash holdings to the minimum required for daily operations only. The historical reference driving this instruction is significant. During the 2020-2022 Tigray War, Tigray Defense Forces units advanced deep into Amhara, into parts of North Wulo and South Wulo. Financial institutions in those areas were affected during the advance. The federal government does not want a repetition of that situation. We have now entered the phase where those precautionary instructions are being issued at the same time as drone strikes are hitting Tigray Defense Forces positions near the same border zones. The banks are preparing. The drones are flying. The front is active. The gap between institutional preparation and kinetic military action has now closed. They are happening simultaneously. We will keep watching and reporting every development as it emerges. Like, share, and subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an update from the front lines.